Triceratops is now released into Path of Titans. This is the Wrath of the Goliath's Great Triceratops, or is it Phalong's Great Triceratops? Either way, this is now available in the game, and let's check it out. So, let's start off with the subspecies, because you have Triceratops horridus, which has M, so I'm assuming M is for sexual dimorphism. You've got male and female, and I really want to quickly check, does the skin change if you change the gender? Yes, it does. Actually, on the frill, it's very, very slight there. Okay, so let's check out the subspecies. Horridus M, then you got Horridus F. So on the female variants, the horns are a lot smaller. Then you have Prausus M, which has the bigger horns. Obviously, the horns angled differently. Then you have Prausus F, which smaller horns. Then you have Stunted Horn, which has one horn smaller than the other, as you can see. Then you have Shattered Horn, which has one horn completely missing. And then you have Duncani, which is a bigger Triceratops. Oh, well, if you compare it to the other one, the biggest change is the frill goes slightly more forward, the horns go more upwards, and the back becomes a lot flatter than rounded. Then you got Jalali M, which is this one, a very big, bulky ceratopsian. Then you have Jalali F, which has smaller horns. So, of course, this is the baby Triceratops, and this thing is absolutely adorable. I really, really like it. Now, this thing comes with one attack as a baby, and that is its standard bite attack. Now, the standard bite attack does a bit of damage, and we have a baby dinosaur to compare this on, you know, if you're fighting a baby, and this is what it does. Now, of course, not that much. It's just a little tiny bite, and if you were to get bitten by this Rex, that Rex would do a lot more damage to you. So realistically, when you are a baby, you need to rely on your parents to help you. That being said, let's showcase this off as an adult. The Great Triceratops has a lot of abilities, and it's also really big, by the way. Look at this thing compared to the Rex. It's pretty much, you know, Triceratops size. Although I am curious to see how big this is compared to Eotrike. Is this bigger than Eotrike, or is it a little bit smaller? I'd have to see. Now, when you go and have a look at the attacks, you get your passives, which are attack, plus 3% attack, plus 5% defense, plus 3% turning radius, and then standard, which is balanced. Then you go ahead and get 4 head slot abilities, way more than the base game Triceratops. You get your standard bite, you get a charged bite, which inflicts damage based on how long it's held. Then you have a headbutt, standard headbutt attack, and then you have sharpened horns, which increases damage output for 60 seconds. Then you go to your sensors. You have quite a bit here. Berserker, which is when on low health, your attack cooldowns 25% faster and deals 10% more damage. Lone Survivor, which is a standard ability. Scent of Blood, which is 10% armor if a nearby creature is bleeding. Kind of like the Allosaurus ability, which is based off this, or well, this is based off as well. Then you have Stampede, which is 2.5% increased damage for every ceratopsian in your group. Then you go to your front limb. You have 3 abilities here. You have Strong Legs, which takes 40% less knockback and 15% increased bone break healing. Block, which negates any incoming attack. That is on the head, head, neck, or front of the body. And then you have Stomp, which is a medium damage attack with the front feet. When you do it, it locks you in place, so be careful there. You have Forager and Herbivore as your diets. Then you go to your hides. You get a lot here. Endurance Runner increases trot speed by 5% and decreases sprint and stamina drain by 5%. Raging Pursuit, 8% attack and 5% turning radius when sprinting. Lightweight Scales, which increases speed by 10%, decreases turn speed by 15%. Resilient Scales, a standard ability, the standard one, and of course Surviving Veteran, which increases health recovery by 20% when outside of combat. Then you have your legs. You've got Burst Runner, which doubles the acceleration, increases sprinting stamina drain by 5%. Long Distance Runner increases stamina recovery by 10%. And Charge, which is a charge forward in a straight line, causing a lot of damage to whatever it hits. Then you go to your tail. You have Rear Guard, which decreases incoming damage by 15%. And you have Thick. It's a thick boy, which is bone break healing increased by 20%. Then you go to your voice, you get Horned Boast, or Horn Boast, which increases armor of the group by 5% and decreases nearby carnivores damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacks up to 10 times. It's time to showcase all of the attacks for this dinosaur. Now, there are quite a few that we need to go over here and showcase mainly, and some that we can get away with. So, of course, we have our Rex. This is probably going to be your greatest adversary when you are playing this dinosaur. So, you've got your little bite, which does a decent amount of damage. It does a lot more than when you were a baby. You then have your charged bite. Now, this one should deal a lot more damage compared to the standard bite. And there it is. You do the standard bite to get a little comparison there. It does a big chunk. It's like 3 standard bites pretty much. And then you have your headbutt. Now this does a little bit more damage than the standard bite that you get, although it does apply the scars very, very quickly. Now the one thing I did want to compare this with is if you are doing the sharpened horns ability as well, and then go back to hitting. It does so much more damage. That is a huge buff right there for this dinosaur. So if you see one of these sharpening their horns, yeah, good luck, because you're going to lose quite quickly. Then of course you have your Stomp, which does a big chunk of damage. And then the final one that I do want to showcase really quickly is probably one of the most damaging ones, and that is of course the Charge, which does a big chunk of damage as well. I feel like if I had that charged up for longer, probably would have done a lot more damage. Now, of course, one thing that I do want to see is how much damage the Rex does to my Triceratops. So if I really quickly position the Rex in front of the Triceratops, I'm going to get it to bite it on its horns, because that would then mean you'd be able to see how much damage it does if you're hitting on the head. As you can see, it's quite a bit of damage. Now, there is no reflect damage for the Rex. Let's just double check by biting the face again. There is no reflect damage from hitting the horns. And maybe if we apply the block ability, we could see how much damage that does or prevents. It prevented pretty much all of the damage there. Now, if we go ahead and just showcase it by biting the body. I do apologize for the dog barking in the background, by the way. Once again, health-wise, it doesn't really have that much. And it is going to be a worthy adversary to a Rex. They're pretty much equal footing in terms of damage. Although, to do your most damage, you need to be doing your Sharpened Horns ability. Of course, when it comes to your skins, I accidentally had the female version on, but now let's showcase all the skins off. You've got Ironhide, which is the standard skin. You then get Red Canyon, which is the next skin. You then get Beauty, which is an absolutely beautiful skin. Blue Shield. Then you get Adorned Skull, which has a blue skull on pattern 1 and 2, and then on pattern 3 it does not. Then you've got High Desert, which is a black skin. Then you have Nostalgia, which is a very, very nice skin. Then you get Snokia Valley. And then finally, Desert, which is by far and away my favourite skin on this mod. Holy moly, that is gorgeous. Now, of course, that is the dinosaur. So everybody, that is the Triceratops, the great Triceratops. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments down below. I do really want to quickly touch up on the mobility of this thing. It's got good mobility. It's still fairly quick. Its turning is really good. And, well, let's quickly have a look at that turn in place. That's pretty good as well. This is going to be a tough nut to crack, but it doesn't have insane amounts of health, and it can be quickly taken apart by a Rex if you are using it right. And if you compare the damage from the head attack to the Rex's normal bite attack, the Rex will do more damage in a short pace of time unless you have your sharpened horns. Of course, though, that is the Triceratops. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think this is a really well-made mod. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see your thoughts about this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.